The RDX has been remarkably consistent. This generation was first introduced in 2013, but despite the 6 years of age, it's still in a 4-way tie for best-selling in the class. Like always, this review will cover all RDXs, from the base model to this top-of-the-line Advance. 2018 will likely be the last model year of this generation, so let's see what keeps customers flocking to it. We would like to specially thank Courtesy Acura for allowing us to film today's vehicle. If you want to check out their huge inventory of new Acuras, a link to their website and their physical address has been provided in the video description. The RDX comes with Acura's smart entry system, and this really luxurious key fob. If you have the Advance, you'll also find a button for the remote start. The first thing we'll start out with is checking under the hood. Under the hood, nothing has changed for 2018, so you will continue to find this 3.5-liter V6 engine on every trim. It makes 279 horsepower and 252 pound-feet of torque, both a good bit higher than what rivals with their turbo 4-cylinders make. A 6-speed automatic is the only transmission, and all-wheel drive can be added to any model for an additional $1,500. Where you would expect to pay a penalty for the V6 is in the fuel economy, but that's not really the case. It is rated at 20 city, 29 highway, 23 combined with front-wheel drive, and 19 city, 27 highway, 22 combined with all-wheel drive. That puts it within spitting distance of its biggest rivals, and like I said, it's already more powerful and more refined. Anyways, let's check out the exterior design and features. The RDX had some big styling upgrades back in 2016, but nothing's changed this year. We still have Acura's older beak-style grille, but this application is one of the mildest in the lineup. Its LED jewel-eye headlights, on the other hand, do match with its bigger sibling, the MDX. The fog lights you'll only find on the Advance model. As far as ground clearance goes, its 8.1 inches is pretty impressive for the class. For wheels, the Advance will continue to be set apart by these 18-inch machine-finished alloys. The other trims will also have 18-inch alloys, but with a more basic design. In addition to that, there are also two standalone options with designs that are like the ones found on the MDX. The brakes are 12.3-inch ventilated disc brakes in the front, and 12-inch solid disc brakes in the rear. Every trim also comes with all-season tires. Coming to the mirrors, they are all heated with these LED turn signals, but only the Advance has auto dimming abilities on both sides. Size-wise, the RDX comes in at 184.4 inches long, which puts it right in line with its three biggest competitors, the Lexus NX, Audi Q5, and BMW X3. An area where the RDX excels particularly is in safety. It is considered a top safety pick plus by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, and that's the highest possible rating. Part of that rating is based on advanced safety gear, which you do get by selecting the AcuraWatch package. The 5 systems included in that are adaptive cruise control, collision mitigation braking, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, and lane keeping assist. Around back, there's honestly not much going on. The taillights are LED, and I like how they mimic the layered look of the headlights. Unlike some of the more recent Acuras, the exhausts are still hidden behind the bumper. Towing's not really advisable with a rating of only 1,500 pounds, but that also goes for pretty much everything in this class. Roof rails aren't included on any trim level, but they can be added as an accessory. The RDX has a 16-gallon fuel tank, which gives the front-wheel drive version a 368-mile range, and the all-wheel drive a 352-mile range. Premium fuel is recommended, but it's not required. Now let's go ahead and hop in and check out the interior. Like the outside, there's nothing different about the interior. That means you still have 3 interior color choices: ebony, parchment, and graystone. This is the parchment option with real leather, but if you choose the base trim, it will be leatherette instead. The door trim is pretty nice, since it uses leather on the armrest and on pretty much everything else. These 2-person memory seats are included as standard equipment on all models. Strangely though, only the front 2 windows are automatic up and down. The seats are 10-way power adjusting across the RDX range, and that does include 2-way power lumbar. Like I said, this is the real leather, and it has a nice feel to it, but it's not the nicer Milano leather that you can get on the TLX and MDX. Materials are not what I'd call class leading, but they're decent considering this car's age. Most of the upper dash is padded, though this part is not. The soft touch plastic does have a nice graining to it. Everything fits together well, though I can't say I'm a fan of the untextured plastic. Push button start is standard across the board. Tech and advanced models will get this 2-screen setup, but the base trim instead only gets 1 tiny screen and a lot more buttons. The gauges have the typical Acura look, which is to say classy looking but not high tech. We do have a fairly large display, but this only comes on models with the AcuraWatch safety systems. It does include a lot of information. Coming back, all models get electric power steering, fed via this leather-wrapped steering wheel. There are a ton of buttons on both sides of the wheel, including for the regular or adaptive cruise control over here. These paddles are included on every RDX, though rain-sensing wipers are only on the Advance. The wheel itself is manually adjusting, though it's worth mentioning that heating is not available. Every brand seems to do this a little differently, but the blind spot indicators are here in the pillar. They are included in the technology model and up. As far as storage goes, the RDX is right in line with its competitors. On top, the center console has a little removable tray, but the console itself is quite big. There's also a 12-volt outlet down here. Up in the front of the vehicle, you have another deep storage area, and there are several more connections in here. The RDX thankfully keeps its real shifter for now. If you go back into Sport, you can shift manually with those paddles. When you go into reverse, a regular backup camera will appear. It does have dynamic guidance lines, and also parking sensors on Advance. There are 3 views you can cycle through, but there's no 360-degree option like on the MDX. The mirrors do tilt down to give you a better look at the parking lines. Behind the shifter you have the seat controls. Every model gets 3-stage heating, but only the Advance gets the 3-stage ventilation. And speaking of ventilation, let's move on to the climate. Every trim gets this dual zone automatic setup. Adjustments do show up on the screen, though you can't actually make the adjustments up there. I actually prefer this setup to the MDX's since it's simpler. Above the climate, you have all the Acura Link controls for the top display. Now let's take a listen to our upgraded ELS Studio sound system. It has a very full and satisfying sound. Now we're going to go ahead and take a quick look at the 2-screened Acura Link system. The bottom screen is a 7-inch touchscreen, while the top screen is an 8-inch non-touch screen. Starting out with audio, I can control the Bluetooth music through this display. And here are all the other audio sources you can pick between. Like I mentioned, all these controls are for the top screen. Here's the map interface, and honestly, it looks pretty out of date. Expect this to change for the all-new model. Next, let's look at phone. By clicking the menu button, you can find all of the other stuff, like your phone book. Just press side to side to more quickly find the contact you are looking for. And just because I find it funny, let's see how long it takes me to get to my text messages. While we wait, I will mention that unlike the refreshed TLX, there is still no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay on board. You can also display audio on the top screen, however it has to be controlled using the bottom screen. This auto-dimming rearview mirror is standard, and you have 3 universal remotes up here. This power moonroof is also standard, something you usually have to pay extra for on the competitors. So overall, the cabin of the RDX is a comfortable place to be. The seats are soft, and there is a lot of space. While it may not be the most stylish or high-tech anymore, it still represents a good value. Now Mason will show off the rest of the RDX.
The back door trim is made of mostly good materials. The armrest and all of the area above it is padded leather, but this cheap little black handle definitely isn't up to par. The window is power, but neither automatic up or down. In the rear of the RDX, you'll find 38.3 inches of legroom and 38.1 inches of headroom. That lands it solidly in the class, right where the Q5 and Lexus NX are. The seats are extremely soft, and I find them very comfortable. Down in the center area, you will find some vents standard across the board. And below that, there's some blank buttons. Once again, I find that a little cheap for a luxury car. There is a fold-down armrest, and it has 2 good-sized cup holders inside. Up top there's a light, a premium headliner, and an assist grip. Legroom is right on par with the class, and that means behind Drew's position I have plenty of space. Sliding over, room is pretty good even with the seat scooted all the way back. So summed up, I like the RDX's rear seat. It's spacious and comfortable, but in my opinion there are a few pieces that seem quite out of place in a luxury car. It would be nice to have heated rear seats too. A power liftgate is standard equipment on all RDXs, but you won't find a hands-free function like on some of the newer cars. In the cargo area, you'll find 26.1 cubic feet of space behind the second row, and a maximum of 61.3 cubic feet if you fold them. That's another figure where the Acura lands right with the class. Other than that, you've got these black handles, which fold the 60-40 split seat backs. The passenger seat is 8-way power on both Technology and Advance, or 4-way power on the base. The materials in front of you are soft-touch plastic, and there's some silver painted trim. The glove box is dampened and good sized, but it's not felt lined. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching our in-depth look at the 2018 Acura RDX Advance. Stay watching for a quick look at the pricing info, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. See you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.